The dollar does not care what you promised yourself last month. It does not care that you said this paycheck would be different. The moment it enters your account, it simply waits to see who gives it orders first. You, your bills, your habits, or your stress. On Friday morning, the paycheck arrives. The account looks healthy. For a moment, everything feels possible. Then rent takes its piece. The car lender takes its piece. The insurance company takes its piece. The credit card takes its minimum and leaves the interest behind like a bad smell. Most people think their money disappears because they are bad at personal finance. But money usually disappears because it was never assigned a job. Unassigned money is easy to spend because it feels available, even when your future bills already need it. If you like calm personal finance breakdowns without shame, fake motivation, or rich people pretending your problem is coffee, subscribe to the channel before we go deeper, because this is about building a system that works in real life. Imagine every dollar in your paycheck standing in a line, waiting for instructions. Some dollars need to protect rent, some need to buy groceries, some need to attack debt, some need to sit quietly in savings so a flat tire does not become a credit card balance. But when there is no plan, those dollars get pulled by whatever feels loudest. A sale notification, a tired night, a friend's invitation, a subscription you forgot about, a payment plan that made the thing feel cheaper than it really was. That is why budgeting for beginners should not be about guilt. Guilt makes people avoid the numbers. A real budget should feel more like a traffic system. It tells money where to turn before everything crashes into the same intersection. The first traffic jam usually happens around fixed expenses: housing, transportation, insurance, debt minimums, phone bills, internet, student loans. These are the expenses that do not care whether you had a good week. They arrive anyway. The second traffic jam happens around flexible spending: food delivery, shopping, entertainment, small upgrades, convenience, and the tiny purchases that feel too small to track. The problem is not one small purchase. The problem is a small purchase that becomes a pattern. And the third traffic jam happens in the mind. You know you should save, but you are tired. You know you should pay down debt, but you want relief. You know you should cancel something, but it feels easier to ignore it for one more month. Aaron's first mistake was assuming the paycheck would organize itself. It never did. Money without a plan became whatever the week needed it to become, and the week was always hungry. On Monday, it became lunch because he forgot to pack food. On Tuesday, it became gas. On Wednesday, it became a small online order after a frustrating meeting. On Thursday, it became a subscription renewal he had forgotten existed. By Friday, Aaron was not making financial choices anymore. He was just reacting to whatever showed up next. The strange part was that Aaron cared about money. He watched videos about finance tips. He saved posts about wealth-building strategies. He told himself he wanted to start investing, but the daily system was missing. That is why information alone did not change him. He knew saving mattered. He knew credit card debt was expensive. He knew spending less than he earned was the basic rule. But knowing the rule did not help when the paycheck had already leaked out. One evening, Aaron sat down with his laptop and opened the last 60 days of transactions. The first thing he noticed was that the big bills were not surprising. Rent was rent. Insurance was insurance. The car payment was the car payment. The surprise was the middle layer: not huge purchases, not emergencies, just repeated convenience, food delivery, small store runs, app charges, weekend spending, little amounts that kept returning like they had keys to the apartment. He added them together and felt annoyed. Not because he had found one villain, but because the truth was messier. His money problem had been built from reasonable moments. Comment checklist below if you want the simple cash flow audit. I'll put it in the pinned comment so you can find the quiet leaks before they become normal enough to disappear from your attention. Aaron's first fix was not extreme. He did not delete every app or cancel his social life. He chose one rule: no spending from the main checking account until the paycheck had been divided. Aaron opened a second checking account and gave it one job: bills only. Every payday, the fixed expenses moved there first: rent, insurance, phone, internet, car payment, debt minimums. The money was boring, but it was protected. Then he opened a small savings account and called it breathing room. Not emergency fund, not financial freedom, just breathing room, because that was what he actually wanted. The first transfer was $75. It felt too small to matter and too big to ignore. He almost moved it back twice during the first week, but he left it there. That small amount changed something. Not the math of his entire life, but the feeling of having one little wall between him and the next problem. Then Aaron looked at his credit card balance. He had been paying the minimum and avoiding the details. This time he looked at the interest rate, the balance, and the purchases that had created it. What bothered him was how many of those purchases were not memorable: food, small orders, A hotel for a trip he could not really afford, car repairs, a few months of pretending everything would even out later. The card had become a storage unit for past pressure. Every month he paid rent on decisions he barely remembered. So he made a rule: no new charges on that card, not until the balance was gone. He chose one extra payment amount that he could repeat without destroying the rest of the month. The first month did not feel amazing. The balance barely moved. Interest still took a bite, but for once the number was moving in the right direction, and that gave him something more useful than motivation. It gave him evidence. Evidence matters because people do not change their financial life only by hearing good advice. They change when they see proof that their own actions can make the pressure smaller. Aaron also changed how he handled food, not because food delivery was evil, but because it had become his default answer to exhaustion. When every tired night costs $28, tiredness becomes a monthly bill. He started keeping simple food at home, not perfect meal prep, nothing impressive, just enough easy options that hunger did not get to negotiate with his credit card every night. The first week felt awkward. He still wanted to order out. He still opened the app once and stared at it. But then he remembered the number from his bank statement, closed the app, and made something boring. That boring dinner saved $24. $24 did not change his life, but repeating that decision several times started changing the shape of his month. Next, Aaron looked at subscriptions. He found one music app, two streaming services, a cloud storage plan, a fitness app he had not opened in months, and a trial that had quietly become permanent. None of them felt serious alone. Together, they were taking money every month from a person who kept saying he had nothing left to save. That is the strange thing about small leaks. They do not ask you to panic. They ask you to ignore them. And if you ignore them long enough, they become part of your financial identity. Aaron canceled 3 of them. The savings were not huge, but the act mattered. For the first time in a long time, he questioned something automatic and won. Comment checklist below if you want the free money audit. I'll pin it in the comments so you can find the expenses that have been hiding inside your normal routine. By the second month, Aaron had not transformed his life. He still had debt, he still had bills, he still had expensive weeks, but there was one major difference. His money was no longer moving completely without him. By the third month, Aaron had a new habit. Every payday morning, before work, before errands, before the weekend had a chance to make suggestions, he divided the money. Bills went first, savings went second, debt got its extra payment, food and gas got their limits. Spending money got its place too, because Aaron had learned that a plan with no room for enjoyment usually turns into rebellion. The numbers were not perfect, but they were honest. That mattered. Honest numbers gave him something he had not felt in a long time: a sense of where he stood. He still had moments where he wanted to spend from stress. He still had weeks where groceries ran high. He still forgot things. But now mistakes had a smaller blast radius. One bad decision no longer destroyed the entire month. That is what real money management often looks like. Not a dramatic transformation, not a perfect spreadsheet, not a person who never wastes money, just someone who catches the leaks sooner than they used to. The big reveal is that Aaron's paycheck had never been the whole problem. The missing piece was direction. Without direction, money became pressure. With direction, even the same income started creating space. The paycheck did not get bigger. Aaron got clearer. So if this story sounds familiar, do not start by calling yourself bad with money. Start by asking where the paycheck loses its instructions. Is it debt, food, subscriptions, car costs, social pressure, or the old habit of checking what is left after everyone else has already taken their piece? Comment checklist below and check the pinned comment. I'll leave the free cash flow audit there, along with the community details, so you can find the leaks before another paycheck disappears. Aaron did not fix his financial life because he suddenly became perfect. He fixed it because one payday at a time, he stopped letting normal life spend his future without permission.